Hello, my name is Robert Doyos, and today I will be discussing if standard teaching methods cause long-term learning difficulties. Early on in my life, I had a distaste for school. I found it uninteresting and was often caught distracted and was called upon many times. Teachers called my parents often due to the amount of times that I found myself distracted. I just always found myself looking up at the ceiling and putting myself in situations where I shouldn't have been there in the first place. One of the main subjects actually was English, and I always had trouble because early on it was the most boring subject to me mentally. So naturally, I was distracted very often, and it caused me to miss out a lot on the subject. Years later, I still struggle, and even to this day in college, the psychological torment that it caused me early on, it still has an effect on how I currently learn. I recall feeling anxious the nights before school, and I hated going the next day to school because it would repeat the cycle all over again. It was just a hard place to be, and I never saw any way out of it. And it was often very difficult for me to go to school the next day since I would always be repeating the same process and distracted, and it would eventually lead to lower grades and a lot more phone calls home. So but through my research, I discovered that there is other ways of teaching students so that they don't have to go through the same things I did. There are ways to catch their attention and different methods that promote individual or group learning that keeps the student engaged and active, which leads to better learning and focus in class. Students are all unique, so they often have more needs than others, and it might take them longer or less. It would take less resources to learn a certain concept or learn new material. But sometimes teachers don't have the time or the resources to help these students, and they often get left behind, as I did with these classes. In inner teaching, it has been proven to provide better results than standard teaching methods. In the article Inner Teaching Bringing Behavioral Education into the 21st Century, there are studies that show the effectiveness of inner teaching as well as the ineffectiveness of other teaching methods. It's a good read, and it explains a lot of the exams that were taken and the process of the studies that were taken of the students with these different methods such as inner teaching, the lecture, just reading or controlled, and they were exposed to these conditions, and it often led to inner teaching being the best alternative for learning. And to conclude this presentation, I would say that there is change that needs to be done. If we do not change our current perspective on learning, we are doomed to repeat our mistakes and not create a better learning environment for the next generation.